Imagine an extraordinary woman whose story transcends generations and continues to inspire millions around the world. Her journey is marked by obedience, patience, and a profound faith in God's promise. I'm talking about Rebecca, a woman chosen by God to be Isaac's wife, fulfilling a divine plan that would impact the history of Israel forever. Their journey is not just a marriage story, but a powerful lesson on how each of us can follow God's plan for our lives with confidence and well planned actions. Like Rebecca, many of us strive to achieve our dreams. However, we often forget the crucial role of planning, preparation, and patience. Rebecca's story is not limited to her union with Isaac, it reflects an eternal principle: God's perfect plan for our lives. Rebecca did not rush. She trusted that the right moment would come, and when that moment arrived, she did not hesitate to act with faith and obedience. This principle of patience, obedience, and planned action is essential not only for marriages, but for all aspects of life. When we think about our goals and dreams, we often fall into the trap of seeking immediate results without considering the importance of a structured plan and consistency in our actions. This is what makes Rebecca's story so impactful. She wasn't in a hurry. She knew that God's plan would unfold in due time. So, how can we apply this to our own lives, especially when pursuing our goals and objectives? Just as Rebecca patiently awaited her future husband, you too must wait and act strategically in relation to your dreams. It's not enough to simply desire success. You need to work with intention, planning, and deliberate action. Let me share something that has personally changed my life: goal setting. Before I understood the true importance of setting goals in a structured way, my financial life was a roller coaster. However, by learning to create clear and objective plans with a vision for the future, my situation changed drastically. From a modest income to impressive growth, all thanks to consistency and careful preparation. The secret to success isn't just about wanting it, it's about knowing where you want to go and having a clear strategy to get there. Just as Abraham sent his servant to choose the ideal wife for Isaac, we must make deliberate and conscious decisions in every area of our lives. Success doesn't come by chance. It comes through a solid decision to anticipate the future with a well-structured plan. Did you know that we are profoundly affected by 5 main factors in our lives? The environment around us, the events of our lives, the knowledge we acquire, the results we have had in the past, and most importantly, our vision of the future. Now, imagine the impact of letting your vision of the future be the biggest influence on your life. How do you see the future? Are you trapped by fear and apprehension, or do you view the future with anticipation and enthusiasm? Tell us in the comments to let us know. The key to transforming your life is to anticipate the future with confidence. If you prepare, study, and chart a clear path, the future will begin to work in your favor. This is exactly what Rebecca did. She was being prepared to be Isaac's wife, and when the moment arrived, she was ready to act with courage and faith. Just like her, you too can act strategically, waiting for the right moment and making decisions with confidence. The biggest factor determining our success or failure is our attitude. Did you know that you can change your life simply by adjusting the way you think and act? Attitude shapes your reality, your choices, and ultimately the final result. If you change your attitude towards your dreams and goals, you will begin to see the future in a completely different way. Success is not just about what you do, but about how you feel and react to what is happening around you. Rebecca, when chosen by God, had the right attitude. She was prepared to follow divine guidance with faith and trust. Her story teaches us that the right attitude can lead us to great achievements. And you, have you made peace with the future? Have you begun to plan your actions with deliberate intention to achieve your dreams? Now I ask you, what is your goal? Where do you want to be in 10 years? How can you structure your life and your plans to ensure that when you look back, you will see that you have accomplished everything you desired? The future is like a magnet, and the way you plan for it now will determine the attraction it exerts on your life. Let me be clear. The future is a vast field of possibilities. And just as Rebecca followed a divine path of choices, you too can create a unique path for your life, full of achievements. What you do now with faith, patience, and planning will profoundly impact your journey. It's not enough to dream. You need to act with purpose. If you want to transform your life, if you want to achieve your dreams, it's time to act. Start with small actions, start with a plan, and remember, The future doesn't happen by chance. It's created by the choices you make today. If you're ready to take the next step on your journey, I invite you to start now. Challenge yourself to act with faith and intention. Start planning wisely and prepare for an extraordinary future. The best of your life is just around the corner. Send this message to someone you see who needs it. Like this video if it made sense to you so far. Rebecca's story is a reminder that when we surrender to God's plan and act with strategy, patience, and faith, success is not only possible, it's guaranteed. And so, like her, you too can live the best chapter of your life. Have you ever imagined how small choices can change the course of your life? The story of Rebecca and Isaac, told in the Bible, is a powerful example of how God orchestrates every detail of our lives, guiding us in directions that we often don't fully understand, but which have a greater purpose. And when we combine this story with the principles of motivation and focus on the future, we see how faith, coupled with a positive and persistent attitude, can lead us to great achievements. Rebecca, a generous and virtuous young woman, lived in the city of Haran at a time when women were often seen as mere participants in fate, but her story proved that she was an extraordinary woman. God chose her to be Isaac's wife, with whom she would bear children, who would later become the nation of Israel. However, her story goes far beyond a simple romance. It teaches us that trust in God and perseverance in our decisions profoundly impact our future, even the simplest aspects of life, such as choosing with whom to share our journey. In Genesis 24, we see the journey of Abraham's servant who, following his master's order, sets out for Mesopotamia to find a wife for Isaac. His mission was not easy. He knew he needed to find someone who shared the same faith and values as his master. And upon arriving at the well of Haran, he prayed, asking God for a clear sign to help him make the right decision. He asked that the woman who offered him water, not only for him but also for his 10 camels, be chosen. Imagine the audacity of the request. Serving 10 camels would be an enormous task. Each camel could drink about 95 liters of water, and this would require not only physical effort, but also a great heart to serve. But what happened? Rebecca, a woman of impeccable character, fulfilled the servant's request without hesitation. She not only gave the man a drink, but also offered to care for the camels, undertaking a task that many would consider too arduous. Her attitude revealed not only her generosity, but also her patience and willingness to serve. This scene illustrates how, in our journey, God often places moments of decision in our path that demand more than physical effort, but also character, faith, and the willingness to serve others with joy. And here's a powerful lesson we can apply to our lives: perseverance and obedience to God with faith in the future. Motivation is essential for achieving our goals. Sometimes life challenges us in unexpected ways. Motivation doesn't come from nowhere. It arises when we have a clear vision of what we want to achieve, and more importantly, of our life's mission. When we understand that we are at the center of God's plan for our future, we find the energy needed to overcome obstacles. Now think about this. How do you face the challenges in your life? Like Rebecca, are you willing to do what it takes to achieve your goals, even when it requires effort and patience? What Rebecca did was much more than a simple act of kindness. It was a reflection of her willingness to pursue a greater purpose, to serve others, and to demonstrate her character. She didn't just fulfill a request, she did the work willingly and without rushing to finish. And that, my friends, is what distinguishes those who achieve success from those who merely dream of it. True emotional vitality comes from a deep connection with life's purpose. In my own journey, I've learned that to achieve something great, we need to go beyond physical effort. We need real motivation, the kind that arises from something bigger than ourselves. True energy comes when you find something that truly excites you, something that makes your heart beat faster. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself, what is your purpose? What excites you each morning to continue the journey? When you find that true motivation, when you connect with your vision for the future, things start to flow. But this doesn't happen overnight. It requires consistency, patience, and above all, the right attitude. Like Rebecca, are you willing to persevere in your mission even when the challenges seem too great? If so, start right now. Share this message with someone you love. Leave a like on this video so that YouTube delivers this message from God to a greater number of people who need these words. Motivation isn't something that simply appears. It arises when we find our passion, when we find something truly worthwhile, and when that happens, we become unbeatable. That's what happens when you start to realize that everything you do, with every step, is going in the right direction, even if the path seems uncertain. The lesson is clear: be true to your purpose, and the future will unfold before you. Don't let life's difficulties derail you. Instead, use each challenge as an opportunity for growth. When you wholeheartedly dedicate yourself, like Rebecca, to serving others and doing good with a generous spirit, God will guide you every step of the way. The future will become not a threat, but an opportunity to do good, grow, and achieve your dreams. Invest your time and energy in the things that truly matter. Believe that your future is in your hands, and each step taken with faith and determination will bring you closer to God's purpose in life. Don't be afraid of the journey. Rebecca wasn't. She trusted in God's plan, and in doing so, she not only changed her own life, but impacted generations that still teach us today. May this story inspire you to seek more, to do more, and to be more. Believe that what lies ahead can be extraordinary because God is in control, and what He has in store for you is far greater than you can imagine. Rebecca's story is one of wisdom, courage, and unwavering faith. She doesn't rush to make it happen. She surrenders to the process, trusting that God would lead her to the right moment, to the right person, at the right time. Today, in a world where we are constantly bombarded by external pressures to make quick decisions, Rebecca's story teaches us a principle we may have forgotten. There's no need to chase after everything. When God's plan is in action, it unfolds without haste, in a perfect way. When we reflect on the search for a partner or the fulfillment of our dreams, we often forget that God's perfect timing is crucial. Like Abraham's servant who followed divine guidance until he found Rebecca, we too must be attentive and willing to trust in God. He will guide us when we are ready to follow with courage. Isaac's spiritual and emotional maturity reflects the fact that God uses time not only to prepare us, but also to prepare the circumstances around us. This teaching is also present in our daily lives. Often we wait for the right person, the perfect moment, but we don't stop to ask ourselves, are we ready? Are we ready? Are we working on our own spiritual and emotional journey to fulfill the purpose God has for us? Or life demands wisdom, patience, and sensitivity from us. Listening to Rebecca's story, we can understand that blessings don't come from haste or artifice, but from a firm commitment to what God has for us. If you are seeking your vocation, a relationship, or a life change, remember, what truly matters is not how quickly things happen, but how you prepare yourself. Remain faithful to your journey and connect with others with genuine empathy and purpose. Be patient, listen to your intuition, and trust the divine process. When the right time comes, you will see that everything will align perfectly. Your destiny is not far away. It is ahead of you, and it will be guided by faith, wisdom, and courage. During the pregnancy of her twin sons, Esau and Jacob, God had already revealed their destiny, stating that the older would serve the younger. However, in her eagerness to hasten the fulfillment of this divine promise, Rebecca tried to manipulate the circumstances and interfered wrongly in her family's life. Rebecca's interference, though well-intentioned, resulted in serious consequences: a painful family division, growing hatred between her sons, and a 20-year separation between her and Jacob. This biblical example illustrates the important lesson that, however much faith and trust we have in God, attempting to control what He has already determined can generate more conflict than solutions. Rebecca's impulsive attitude in acting to hasten God's plan reminds us that patience and trust in God's timing, they are essential for reaping the fruits of His providence. When Rebecca allowed herself to be guided by her own will instead of fully trusting in divine providence, she brought disharmony. The Bible teaches us in Proverbs 14:1, "A wise woman builds her house, but a foolish one tears it down with her own hands." True wisdom comes from obedience to God and patience in waiting for the Lord's perfect timing, no matter how difficult the circumstances may seem or how much you feel you're not making progress. Every effort is a step forward. Every small action, however insignificant it may seem, is a step towards your greater goal. When you understand that success is a journey of consistency, you will begin to see the results of your persistence. In Rebecca's story, we see that although her initial attitude was based on faith, she succumbed to the temptation to control the outcome on her own. She did not trust that if God had already spoken, he would fulfill his promise in his own time. Today, you may be wondering if it's really worth continuing to try. The answer is yes. As the Bible teaches us, perseverance brings results. Perhaps you haven't yet seen the fruits of your labor, but like Rebecca and her family, when we trust in God and maintain our faith, the results appear in ways we could never have predicted. This connection between divine wisdom and human persistence can be a source of strength for us all. With each mistake and each success, we are closer to achieving our goals. Trust the process, learn from your experiences, and remember that in a world where success is often seen as something external, it's important to remember that every great transformation begins from the inside out. The power to change our destiny, to attract what we desire, and to impact the lives of others is not a matter of chance, but a conscious choice. Like Rebecca, we are often called upon to make bold and courageous decisions in our lives. However, in order to recognize these opportunities and act decisively, we need to be in tune with ourselves, with our inner truth. In many situations, like Rebecca's decision-making process, you'll need to resist the temptation to wait for perfect conditions. Life doesn't wait for you, it moves on. And sometimes the biggest challenge is making the decision to move forward, even without knowing exactly what the next step will be. Transformation happens when you act with confidence, even in the face of uncertainty. Just as Abraham's servant was guided by God to find Rebecca, we too are guided by something greater when we take the reins of our choices and don't just wait for life to happen to us. Sometimes success comes from moving in the opposite direction to what life's gravity pulls us to do. Life tends to be challenging, but it is in overcoming obstacles that we find true strength. Now, look at your own journey. If you want to change the direction of your life, start by acting boldly, like Rebecca. Change your internal communication, be more conscious of what you think and how it shapes what you say and do. The secret to success and happiness begins within you, with the willingness to change, grow, and believe that your journey has a purpose. Remember, to impact the world around you, you first need to impact yourself. The change you want to see in the world begins within you. Be like Rebecca. Make the decision to follow, to move forward, and above all, to trust. When we share our time, knowledge, and experiences, we expand our own capacity to live a full life. Change begins within us, and as we work harder on our personal growth, we prepare ourselves for what God has in store for us. May Rebecca's patience inspire all women to make the decision to act and trust in God. Don't forget to turn on notifications and follow the upcoming episodes about the extraordinary women of the Bible. Share with your friends, like, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss other stories that teach us to live with courage and faith. May God bless each of us, and may we be like Rebecca. Until our next video, where we will talk about REAB,